Okay. So good after. It's still good after. It's still good morning here in the Philippines, and I think it's good afternoon in Australia, and it's good day for everyone in the entire globe. No. So I'm Dr. Liwayway Acero. I am a professor and at the same time the chairperson for the Department of Natural Sciences here in Beda University, Manila, Philippines. So today, I'm going to share to you the output and the result of my study entitled Challenges and Opportunities in the Study of Cell Using Virtual Online Laboratory. To give you a short background of my study, this study was conducted during the COVID-19 pandemic. Although we are now transcending to the endemicity of COVID-19. So the background is the hiatus brought about by COVID-19 pandemic greatly affected the educational institutions offering courses in life sciences, particularly the laboratory component. So, Lobster Virtual Online Simulations, or LVOS, is an online platform that offers full interactive advanced laboratory simulations of a wide range of science topics. So this Lobster Virtual Online Simulation is very popular during the COVID-19 pandemic. So it was co-founded by Mads Trivinglen Bond and Michael Bodkar in Copenhagen, Hovedstaden, Denmark in 2011. Although it was already founded in 2011, it became popular during the pandemic. So luckily, we were able to contact the Lobster organization in Denmark during the first semester of 2020. To date, it is the world's leading platform for virtual labs and science simulations. Then to give you a short background of our university here in Manila, Philippines, Beda University Manila is a sectarian Catholic educational institution run by the Benedictine priest. So as a university, quality education, despite the pandemic, is always the focus of the school management. And when the pandemic is all over the world, as a chairperson of the department, I was so upset and stressed on what to do with the laboratory component of the students. Since we are all teaching in our department is all teaching in life sciences that includes laboratory components. So my months of Googling in the internet on what to use on virtual laboratory simulation was consumed for the first semester, and luckily we're able to subscribe in Lobster. So the BS Human Biology of San Beda University, Manila is a pre-medical program. Students who were first year and second year in school year 2019, 20 and 20 to 2020 had experienced two laboratory approaches in their science subjects. Before the pandemic, they experienced in-person laboratory classes or IPL, and during the pandemic, they experienced online classes using the Labster virtual online simulations. The objectives of the study. So these are my students. The picture here are my students before pandemic. They are examining plant cell under the microscope, and that is during our in-person laboratory class. And this one is the Lobster simulation, which they use during the pandemic. So the objectives of my study is to determine the perception of the students on priorities, benefits, and challenges and drawback using Lobster virtual online simulation. Another objective is to compare in-person laboratory classes and Lobster virtual online simulation based on knowledge, practice, and convenience of use. And the third objective is to determine the suggestions of the respondents on the use of elbows or Lobster as COVID-19 is moving towards endemicity. For the methodology, the population description and sampling procedure are as follows. The population of the respondents are the 33 third year and fourth year BS Human Biology students in school year 21-22 in Beda University. So this study was conducted last year. Okay, so there are 15 fourth year students and 18 third year human biology students. The inclusion criteria for the participants are the students that experience in-person classes before pandemic and Lobster virtual online simulations during pandemic. The exclusion criteria for these studies are students who experience Lobster virtual online simulations only. So complete enumeration of these 33 participants was done. So non-sampling errors was avoided. The research instrument, a questionnaire-based study based from the study of Komar et al. Was used and sent via Google Drive link. Since last year, we are still doing online classes. But now, this first semester and second semester, we move on to full in-person classes during our laboratory, but our lecture is still online. Then, it is composed of questions that determine the demographic profile of the respondents, the perception of the respondents on the benefits or opportunities of using elbows, its challenges, drawback, and the comparison between elbows and IPL classes and their suggestion on the use of Lobster virtual online simulation. The cost questionnaire was pre-tested to the students who were in the exclusion criteria. Vague questions were removed and the questionnaire in Google Form was sent to the respondents using their university emails. So the BS Human Biology students who are qualified in the inclusion criteria were requested to answer the structured questionnaire. Google Form were sent to their university email addresses. Then, if there are vague questions, a small group discussion was done using Zoom to clarify vague question answers and to gather some of their suggestions. For the statistical analysis, data gathered were tallied in Microsoft Excel 365 version 16 and frequency and percentage were used to analyze and describe the results on the perceived priorities, challenges, and suggestions of the respondents on the use of elbows. T-test was used to determine significant difference on the perception of the respondents on comparing elbows and with IPL. I now move on to the results and discussion. For the demographic profile of the respondents, you can see here in table 1 that more than the majority of the respondents, which is 54.54%, are within the age bracket of 20 to 21. So these students were born from 1999 to 2002 and they are considered as digital natives. When we say digital natives, the computers and other digital gadgets are part of their lives. So using virtual simulation is not a difficult task for them since they are digital natives. About the respondents' responses on the use of Lobster virtual online simulation. Question number 1, if the elbows is a good substitute for IPL in activities in studying cells, of course, more than the majority agreed that it is the Labster virtual online simulation is very good substitute in studying cells if in-person classes is not possible. The number 2, if it is easy to learn, so 84.8% of the respondents agree, since as I said before, it's very easy for them to understand the procedures in doing the simulations since they are digital natives. And the Lobster virtual online simulations is like an online games that is very much loved by the respondents. Regarding number 3, if the simulation has almost real experimental illustrations, 63.6% of the respondents agree. If the simulations need no assistance, 75.8% agree, and laboratory-based equipment is no longer needed since it is online simulation, 78.8% agreed. For experimental procedure can be learned and well discussed, 75.8% agreed. Since before online simulations, the students are allowed to watch the video, and there are a lot of theories that is discussed before they did the online virtual simulations. For number 7, tutorial mode is designed to help better in solving post-experimental queries. 84.8% agreed. For tutorial mode helps to perform better in laboratory examination, 78.8% also agreed. And number 9 question, if Lobster virtual online simulation helps to enhance analysis and reasoning, 87.6% agreed. So if we try to look on table 2, all responses are leaning towards the positive responses on the use of virtual simulations. So, according to them, it is a good substitute in studying cells. If in-person classes are not feasible, the simulations were easy to learn and manipulate, almost have real experimental illustrations, need no assistance in the use, do not require laboratory-based equipment, all experimental procedures can be learned and well discussed.
Okay.
Tutorial mode design of elbows help them in solving post-experimental queries. Tutorial mode help to perform better in laboratory exams. So most of them are leaning towards positive responses. So this result can be helped by the study of Coleman and Smith in 2019 on evaluating the benefits of virtual training in bioscience students. Another study which can support the claims of my result is the study of Ramadan and Enwarto on 2019 on using virtual labs to enhance students' thinking abilities, skills, and scientific attitudes. Next result is the challenges. So after the benefits, we'll move on to the challenges. Number 1 question is laboratory approach that is easy and convenient to use. So 51.5% they agreed that elbows is much easy and convenient to use than the IPL. Then if the laboratory procedure give better results, this one, the respondents is in favor of in-person classes. Since during in-person classes, they can ask questions from their professors for clarity of the procedure. On number 3, laboratory approach that require repetition of the experiment before coming up with the result, 72.7% lean towards elbows, because in Lobster virtual online simulation, the professor can click whether the students can do once or twice or more than twice simulations, as long as the students can understand. So the professor can click or can set the how many times the students can do the simulations. Number 4, laboratory approach that gathered accurate data with less chance of error. 72.7% lean towards elbows. Then number 7, laboratory approach that explains better experimental procedures, still with the elbows, which is 60.6%. Then number 6, laboratory approach that is more interesting, still the respondents lean with the elbows, because according to the students, Lobster virtual online simulations is like online games. Then laboratory approach that is more time saving, still they lean towards the elbows. Then about laboratory process is more convenient during examination, they still lean on the elbows because the students are very afraid of the in-person exams during laboratory, wherein it is a move system and there is a ringing of the bell. So the students can move around the table with time limits. Then number 9, laboratory approaches more experimental failure. The students reported that IPL has more experimental failure, since sometimes the temperature and in other environmental factors affect the conduct of the experiments during in-person classes. The number 10, laboratory approach that allowed more discussions and interaction between professor and students. Of course, in-person classes is favored. Now to summarize on the challenges in the use of elbows, according to the students, during the conduct of school group discussion in Zoom meeting, there is the absence of actual cell examination during microscope is not done in the elbows. Then, using Labster virtual or online simulation require high version of computers. Simulations had no variation on result. Since in order for the students to run the Labster virtual in online simulations, their computer or laptop should be the version of iCore 5 and iCore 7. If it is lower, they cannot play the simulation. So that is a challenge for the respondents. Then the absence of real preparation of slides from fresh specimen for microscope is also absent in Lobster virtual simulations. And I think that is very important for human biology students. And they do not develop the microscopy skills in Lobster simulation. So this study, the result of my study can be supported by the study of Baskov et al. Was entitled Digital Labs and Simulations and Center for Teaching. Next is the comparison, comparison of elbows and IPL. Laboratory approach that is easy and convenient to use. The respondents agreed that IPL is easy and convenient to use. Then for number 2, still IPL is favored by the respondents. Then for laboratory approach that require repetition of the experiment before coming up with the result, 24% favored elbows, and it is significant. It is significant, no? Since only 8 respondents answered IPL. Laboratory approach that gathered accurate data with less chances of error, still elbows significantly outnumbered the 8 frequency in the IPL. Then laboratory approach that explains better experimental procedure, still significant result between elbows and IPL in favor of elbows. Laboratory approach that is more interesting, still elbows has significantly outnumbered the 8 response for the IPL. And laboratory approach that is more time-saving, still elbows significantly differ with the 4 responses in IPL. Laboratory approach that is more convenient during exam, elbows still significantly outnumbered the IPL. But the laboratory approach that has more experimental failure, IPL, is significantly outnumbered the elbows. Okay, then suggestions of the respondents on the use of elbows. So elbows should still be a part of the laboratory teaching approach in the study of cell structure and physiology. Complete enumeration. So 33 respondents answered agree. So until now, the Lobster virtual online simulation is still incorporated with our learning management system. So if there are holidays or there are abrupt closing of in-person classes due to some environmental factors, we can shift to Lobster virtual online simulation. So there is no disruption in the classes. The number 2, continue the subscriptions in elbows as supplementary laboratory teaching approach. 32 agree in favor of elbows. And number 3, elbows should be assigned as homework and should be performed on the prescribed time of the professor. 20 respondents agreed and only 13 do not agree. For the conclusion, it is claimed that Lobster virtual online simulation enabled them to study cell structure physiology during pandemic. Their suggestions are focused in the inclusion of elbows in the science subjects with laboratory component. Although there is a minor drawback like manipulative skills in microscopy is not developed. And it was further suggested that the world is moving towards COVID-19 endemicity. Elbows should still be a part of the laboratory teaching approach for life science subjects. So, and my presentation, it's lobster, not lobster that we eat. And thanks for listening. I'm ready for the questions.